Welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm Petter and this is James.
Hi.
Today we're talking about volume 7 of Kaiju number 8. And with this volume, we are caught up to as far as James had read before we started reading this series on the podcast. So I believe we were even a few chapters past of where you had read before. Exactly where were you before, actually?
About 3 chapters into this volume, I think. Basically, where Kikoru is in her father's office crying, and then she has a new resolution, and then Kafka looks at his hand and walks away.
Wow.
That's when I stopped reading.
And that's a pretty and like the thing with Kafka's hand is a rather big revelation. I feel like.
True. Although I think at the time I kind of glossed over it. Maybe I feel like
That's fair.
it didn't really stick in my head as much as it probably should have. To be honest, I think I
Gotcha.
was just so overwhelmed with everything else that was happening,
Yeah.
or like impressed, or really
Mm.
liking what I read. Anyway, yeah. So I feel like that was a pretty good place to start, especially how he's just walking away.
True.
But I definitely did want to keep reading when I stopped.
Understandable. But I think it's yeah. I agree. It feels like a good place because it really is. It does nicely end the whole arc that just happened or the whole part that just happened.
Right.
So
Right.
all things considered, yeah, it was probably a pretty good place for you to take a little break
Mm-hmm.
from new content. But now you've gotten to read some new chapters for the first time in a long time from this manga.
Now we back. We back.
So I'm happy for you.
And so a lot of other characters.
Yeah, yes, precisely. So let's talk about all of them. Starting with Kaiju number 9 this week. As I suspected last time, Kaiju number 9 had indeed taken over Isau's body, although it wasn't kept a secret for particularly long. It wasn't like this secret infiltration thing that I had maybe anticipated more so. But still, it did
But
happen
you
that
still
way.
got it right though.
Sort of, yeah. Uh, but we also learned a pretty scary thought about Kaiju number 9 supposedly being able to access Isau's memories now that he has his body.
Right.
So that's pretty creepy, kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and bad for the protagonists, of course.
Yeah. I mean, the more you hear about it and learn about Kaiju number 9,
Yeah.
the more it seems to be just this terrible, terrifying entity.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, when Kaiju number 9 first came to the story, I thought he would kind of be like a scrub type person, the typical first bad guy, the
Mm.
heroes fight.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh, but he keeps on staying. He's still a thing throughout,
Mm.
and not just that, it gets more powerful,
Precisely.
and he may even be the mastermind behind some other kaiju, which I don't know, that's
Mm.
kind of blew my mind, to be honest.
Precisely.
Yeah, so the more that we learn about kaiju number 9, the more frightening he becomes.
Yeah, and like it is definitely a lot like as you said, like the more we learn about him, because I feel like little by little the story has been revealing things about him that has made him more scary, kind of. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but there was also as like in this volume we saw him like actually attain a brand new level of power through absorbing or taking in the the kaiju power that Iso was wielding.
Mm-hmm.
So he is actually also growing in strength.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as you touched on, his ability to actually create other kaiju. Uh, like we learned that he created kaiju number 10. So what else has kaiju number 9 created? Like how many others could he have created? Like yeah, he could have created a bunch of others, and I wonder if kaiju number 10 was his prototype, or one of his prototypes or whatever. Could the little guy inside Kafka have been maybe an even earlier prototype that failed somehow?
Mm.
Also, like I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe that's why he's so adamant on getting that kaiju power back, or somehow like getting his hands on it.
Maybe, although it does seem that, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was making it up, but when he does attack, I believe it was the previous volume where he attacks Isao, he says, "This was my true intentions the whole time, to get after you, Kaiju number 2, and Isao. So maybe he isn't so adamant about getting the little kaiju in Kafka, but I guess that's can't know for sure.
Right. But I was also thinking because when Kaiju number 10 mentioned how he wanted to fight those later versions that Kaiju number 9 would be creating.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of, I believe, a theory of yours from a few discussions back, or maybe the previous one or whatever. You brought up the idea that maybe that's what the little guy inside Kafka wants to do, is to fight other kaiju.
Mm.
And so that would be
Mm.
a similarity there, and maybe a connection if that's the case. But yeah, it's still definitely just a speculation. But yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
interesting though.
I think my theory was that the little guy is, I'm not I guess I'm not certain if the little guy wants to fight these things or feels the threatening aura of the powerful kaiju and just goes into survival mode
Ah,
kind of situation
okay, that's fair,
instead of
right?
actually seeking out the fighting.
Mm.
But I think now that we have kaiju number 10 and his example of wanting to keep fighting, I think that is something that we can lean upon. Although
Mm.
you could also argue that kaiju number 10 is just a special case. But
Yeah, right.
either way, that is an interesting connection. And I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot of mystery behind Kaiju number 9. Of course, I still think back to the phone call he made, and we bring it up
Yeah.
probably every discussion. But there's someone, to me, he can't be the ones that is actually pulling the strings, although he may be the one doing these experimentations and creating the kaiju. But to me, there has to be someone else pulling him or
Hmm.
commanding him or something like that.
Oh yeah. Huh. I I don't think I ever really thought of it as the other potential person or kaiju or whatever, the other individual being higher in chain of command or more of the mastermind or whatever. Although that's definitely a possibility. I just I don't know. I only ever really thought of it as someone that's working with number 9 on some level.
Hmm.
The further we get into the story, I'm feeling I'm really starting to feel like number 9 is the top baddie, kind of.
But how can he be? Because you have these other kaiju, like the 1, 2, 6, that exist before kaiju number 9 was ever a thing, supposedly.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, there has to be more to than just kaiju number 9 is the end game.
I mean, what if number 9 created all of the like major kaiju threats throughout history?
That's a that's an interesting possibility. You know
Maybe. I mean, for all we know, it could be.
that would make him. But I still understand why he would be communicating with someone else like that. It
Yeah.
just.
Right. That is a mystery.
But anyway, so the current studies or theories from the Defense Force indicate that through the seismic activity and substances and life, plants and animals nearby, that is what creates the kaiju.
Hmm.
And their theory is that number 9 is the one experimenting with that to create more.
Hmm.
So I think what they believe originally is that these kaiju were natural phenomenons that just happened
Yeah.
as circumstance. So there wasn't anybody really behind the kaiju,
True.
at least according to this theory. And then at a certain point, when kaiju number 9 came in onto the scene, you could see like the spike in kaiju development. I guess that's when they're guessing he would have started
Uh,
experimenting and
right.
putting it
True.
in.
There was that detail, and that probably yeah that is probably important. As kind of when he became active. So yeah, he probably hasn't created every major kaiju threat, but yeah, given what we know, I think he seems like a big bad.
For now, I'm still skeptical that he's like the big bad.
That's fair enough.
And honestly, I would kind of be disappointed if he was.
Oh really?
Yeah, I feel like there needs to be some sort of reveal that
Hmm.
there's something else going on here besides just kaiju number 9,
I mean,
in my opinion.
right. I would also like obviously twists and reveals and stuff are fun, and this mystery about the whoever he was talking to on the phone obviously is something I'm anticipating, and I'm dying to know. But at the same time, like generally when it comes to like major main protagonists in stories, I usually prefer to.
You mean main antagonists?
Oh, sorry, did I say protagonists?
I think you said protagonist.
Yeah, no, definitely meant antagonists. Thank you.
Hmm.
I prefer to have them had around longer rather than shorter. Because the more we know the villain, the more fun they are, the more interesting they are, probably usually.
That's fair. We are only 7 volumes in, and I mean, who knows how long
True.
the story is going to be?
That's a good point.
But
That's a really good point, actually. So yeah, I guess with that in mind, yeah, who really knows?
I do feel like that this is leading up to a huge confrontation.
Mm,
Don't know if that. I don't have a feeling that they're trying to end the series any quite yet.
no,
So I feel like this huge confrontation would probably be a middle point, maybe, and then they go on to the next huge arc or whatever.
that yeah, I am feeling similarly. So
And whether that be Kaiju number 9 or not, after this middle point, who knows? But I do
right.
feel like Kaiju number 9 is being set up to be, at least for this middle point, the big boss, the big baddie.
Fair enough. Yes, but yeah, because yeah, Kaiju number nine did. When he retreated, he did proclaim that his next move will mark the start of the kaiju era. So I
Yeah.
wonder if he's gonna be successful or not. Like, is he gonna maybe be able to like deal like an even heavier blow than he did here, and actually like change the world into a more kaiju filled or more kaiju ruled world or whatever? That would
Yeah,
be
that would
that
be
would
wild.
that would be wild, and I think I would be down for it.
Yeah, if like the entire world is changed, it kind of comes a
Uh huh.
apocalyptic type situation, and so
Exactly.
they have to fight their way back from that.
Mhm.
Um, that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
But either way, it's so foreboding to hear him say the start of the kaiju era.
Mhm. Really is. But he does consider Kafka to be his only real major obstacle.
Hmm.
So Kafka is going to be crucial in this. Whether they succeed in defeating number nine or not.
Yeah, I am really curious to see if kaiju number 9, like you suggested, was the one who created the little kaiju or not.
Yeah. I wonder.
That's gonna be a either way. It's gonna be a fun relation because something had to create that thing.
Yeah, it feels like that because it's so strange.
Hmm.
uh,
And so abnormal compared to the other kaiju we've seen.
totally. Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to ask you about is just to, I guess, more so refresh my memory.
Hmm?
The attack that Narumi used against Kaiju number 9 towards the beginning, like the unavoidable attack,
Hmm?
uh, it's an attack you used against Beta. Like, what did he mean
Oh
about
yeah.
Beta?
I actually was also a bit confused about that.
Is that one of did Narumi use that attack against one of the other
Uh,
mushroom guys? Or was Beta the
Oh, that
what?
yeah, yeah, you're right. I believe he referred to his various because when during the ant mushroom kaiju battle, when he had multiple of himself, I
Mm-hmm.
believe he referred to yeah, he used words like that to refer to different
Ah,
of those versions of himself. I think you're right about that.
gotcha. Okay,
I believe at least. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up because I actually hadn't really given it much thought at all. I just kind of glossed over it. But that's good, I think.
cool.
But is there anything else on Kaiju number nine?
No.
Then let's move on to, well, Kaiju number eight, or Kafka Hibino. He's experiencing kaijuification? Um yeah, like he's got this little part on his right hand that doesn't seem to revert back to human form when he goes back to being human. And the theory is that if he keeps on transforming into a kaiju, then eventually he may not be able to turn back to human form at all.
Yeah, interesting side effect.
Uh
You
huh.
know, he finally gets together and is able to come to terms with his power or whatever.
Yeah.
And then now this is happening. It's like, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it can never be easy, but still, it's like, dang it.
Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty rough.
More consequences.
Precisely. And I wonder how fast is this going to progress, because by the end we learn that he is going to continue fighting, and
Mm-hmm.
we will be seeing these kaiju transformations from him, uh, you know, moving forward still. So I wonder how quickly he's going to start kaiju-fying.
It's a good question. I mean, at that point, if you want to turn back to human, you'd almost be looking for a cure or a way to get the little kaiju out of you.
Right.
Maybe that's the end game for him, but
Yeah.
not sure if maybe this could be a very long lasting thing throughout the series that he just progressively gets more and more like a kaiju, but don't know.
And even though it is awfully sad to, that we lost Isao Shinomiya here and all that, I do still kind of love how, like, I guess that this really strong sense of revenge that many of the characters are feeling now, and that they share right now. And so, like, we have this, or they have this really very serious motivation now to kill number 9 and to do it together. And I feel like for the first time, kind of, the story has really got this strong, or the characters in the story really have this super strong drive to get a very specific thing done. And I'm really in for it, because it definitely makes it very exciting to me.
Yeah.
But what else do we got on Kafka?
I mean, that's all I really have. I didn't feel like he had a whole lot after he walked. Well, they talked about his hand, and him and Narumi, kind of did their manly, that gif where the two muscly men like shake hands kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
kind of like that moment.
Basically, yeah, you're right.
But that's about it. That's about it for Kafka. I'm expecting to see him obviously next volume.
For sure. Yeah, I would be surprised if he didn't appear in any volume, honestly. Well, then, next, let us talk about Gen Narumi next. Isao Shinomiya placed the responsibility of protecting Japan in Gen's hands.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, given that he is supposedly like the strongest captain. Though I was still a bit surprised, since he has also been known for being really irresponsible and immature. And I'm like, is this really the guy you want to give this, like, responsibility to? I don't know.
He's got good subordinates, people that whip him into shape, kind of. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah. Eiji Hasegawa definitely is good at that.
But just Isao had totally planned to step down, entirely right before he get to take it over. So that's it's kind of sad, but I think leaving it in Narumi, while somewhat questionable, good hands. I also thought about, well, why not Mina? Like, why not leave it to her? Granted,
right.
she's more of like, her strength is definitely farther ranged attacks.
True. Yeah.
And Narumi is supposed to be just all around incredible fighter. So I guess I could see that, but I don't know. Mina's got the fan club.
Yeah. But at least he didn't make Narumi into like the new actual whatever the title was that Isao had.
True.
That went to somebody else. So it would have been way too wacky if Narumi actually got that actual responsibility.
Yeah.
But when Kikoru told Gen that she blames herself for their loss and that scene, I got the feeling that Gen feels more or less the same way. I think he also blames himself, and I think he's also upset with himself for not being able to save Isao in that whole encounter. And so I thought it was because of how he empathizes with her in that he decided to train her. Was my thinking as to his reasoning for that. So I think, in a way, even though he doesn't say it and he barely shows it, and maybe this is just my headcanon, maybe, but I really do think it's their shared kind of similar feelings about this whole thing that is motivating him to train her and so that they can both set this right together, maybe hopefully
Mm.
further down the line.
Yeah, I agree, and I think he also wants to. I'm trying to think of the right way to phrase this. Kind of set Isao's mind at ease. Even though Isao is is not
Mm,
here anymore,
right. Yeah.
just let him or train his daughter so that she'd be able to fight back.
Mm.
Because obviously there's really no stopping Kikoru. She's gonna keep going,
Oh yes.
and so maybe he's almost making it up to Isao by teaching
Mm.
everything that Isao taught him.
Precisely. Yeah, I love that. Like passing on all of that to his daughter. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the Gen and Kafka side of things, I really like the turnaround that we've seen in Gen Narumi, kind of since his introduction into the story up until now, where obviously
Mm-hmm.
in the start he was completely against Kafka and Kafka being a kaiju and everything, like
Right.
100% against it. But now,
Mm-hmm.
despite not having wanted Kafka on the team before or anything like that, and even also despite the fact that he technically shouldn't have Kafka on the team given Kafka's current condition, he still wants Kafka on board, and I just love that he is as desperate to defeat number nine as the others are, and he's come around on Kafka, so I think that's pretty beautiful.
Absolutely. He has some sort of plan. It seems like maybe, but maybe it's more so that they just need to all come together to fight against Kaiju number nine. But I don't know. It seemed like
Yeah.
he was implying there was some sort of plan of action against it. I don't know.
Um, right, or at least uh, due to number nine having Isao's memories, or at least supposedly it does.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they need to act, I guess, um,
Unpredictably.
unpredictably. Yes, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Precisely. And part of that, at least from what this volume told us, part of that includes using the new recruits in the fight,
Right. Right.
because they are brand new, and Isao barely knew those people at all.
True.
Uh, so yeah, I wonder if there's anything more though to this unpredictable strategy. I guess we'll find out.
Indeed.
That's all on Gen.
Yep.
Then next, let us talk about Soshiro Hoshina. He was also quite invested in this whole planning for the future and taking down number nine. I feel like maybe it was even him who actually brought up the unpredictability strategy.
Yeah. It may actually have been him and not Narumi. Yeah.
Mm-mm. Either way, it was fun to see how much they kind of hate each other. Or really, actually, it's mostly Gen that hates Soshiro. I feel like Soshiro was more cool about it, kind of, which made it really funny.
Yeah. I don't know why Nanami has such a bone to pick with him, and
Yeah,
I he's got a sore pride, or if you
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
He does.
but no, that interaction was great. It was just great to have Hoshino back in the story.
For sure. Yeah, I like to see him and a few more old faces, but
Yeah.
mostly him, obviously. Yeah, great to see them again.
Plus, we see Kaiju number 10, and they have a good long talk with each other, which was not something I
Totally.
expected at all.
Same. Yeah, I thought number 10 was out of the picture completely.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. Number 10 wants to be weaponized and worn by Soshiro now. So yeah, that's going to be really exciting to see how is that going to be different, because I never assumed that there was any type of consciousness in these suits, but if they worry that there may be something to it, the fact that number 10 actively wants to be weaponized,
Mm-hmm.
does that mean that all suits still have a level of some sort of consciousness or something? About
So I'm not I'm not certain, but it does seem like that they are unsure when you have a kaiju that's this cognizant what its willpower will be like, how much it will be able to fight back or control or whatever.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah.
I think because we haven't, it was really starting with kaiju number 8, that they had any sort of uh, idea that a kaiju could talk. I mean, obviously, kaiju number 8, is a little different story, but
Yeah.
that carried on to kaiju number 9 and now 10. These
Mm,
these guys can actually hold a conversation,
exactly.
so a little different.
True, true. But yeah, Soshiro agreed to number 10's request in order to get more information. So, gonna be great. And I love how Soshiro really, or well, basically kind of unites the whole defense force, or at least a big portion of the defense force, because he knows that they are stronger together. So, thanks to this, we can hopefully see all of our favorite characters together at the same
Yeah.
time, and not have to go several volumes not seeing certain ones. Like, so yeah, I was very happy about that.
Same.
Very well. Should we move on to Kikoru Shinomiya next?
Okay.
So she is now an orphan, sadly.
Man, this poor child.
Yeah. I mean, she's only 16 years old, and really, like, I don't think that's very much. Like, to have, to have lost both your parents, like, at that age, that is rough. That's really rough.
Especially with Kikota's mindset of wanting to protect,
Yeah.
her mother, and I'm sure that extended to her father, and they both died. One of them dying right in front of her eyes.
Mm,
So
yeah.
it's tough. I do like this new, even greater drive to get stronger.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't think she didn't have it before, but I mean, she definitely does now. Like
Really,
there's
yeah. I mean, it's true because we've talked about her drive to get stronger before, because
mhm.
it has been notable and it's been pretty significant. I think, especially compared to many of the other characters.
Yeah.
But as you said, now with this, it's like even higher, even stronger. So like I can't even imagine how motivated she actually is right now to grow stronger and to train herself and improve.
And
Uh,
you could probably argue that without Isao's sacrifice, Nanami maybe not have wouldn't have been willing to teach Kikoru
yeah,
uh, what her father, and I'm not so certain that Isao would have taught
mm,
Kikoru either,
that's
to be honest.
that's fair. Or or yeah, I wonder.
I mean, I'm not saying like
Hmm.
because he's a bad father, but more so that maybe he would want to protect her still, and but I mean he hadn't done it yet. Why would he
Hmm.
all of a sudden start doing it? I don't know. That's it's
Fair.
speculation.
Right, right.
How are we to know? We can't. But
Uh-huh.
I do think that at the very least, his sacrifice was an important pushing moment to for both of these guys to meet and decide. Okay, I'm going to train you,
Hmm.
and you're going to be just as strong as I am.
Yeah, yeah, definitely served that purpose for sure. Because yeah, like losing Iso Shinomiya, obviously a massive loss for Kikoru personally, but for the defense force as a whole as well.
Yeah,
Like everyone is affected by it. But obviously Kikoru most of all.
but she won't mourn him until they actually defeat
Yeah.
number 9.
Oh, that was actually really sad when
Yeah,
I got to that part, man. Oh man. Yeah, yeah. And Gen gave Kikoru a deadline of 1 month
yep,
to become
yep.
stronger than everyone at the defense force, except for himself, of course. uh, so, yeah, that's exciting. We got a deadline.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you have anything on this character. Actually, maybe you do, but I'm just gonna throw her in here. The Shironome, like she's
Oh, yeah, go for it.
currently helping Kiko to train,
Yes.
but that's really all I have on her. She's just the current goalpost for for Kiko.
Precisely. Yeah, and like she she was like very briefly introduced before, but this
Right.
volume, like for the first time, gave her some real some character, I guess. Even
A
though it
little
was
more, yeah.
only a little bit, but it was still a bit more than before. Then another familiar face that returned in a pretty significant portion was Reno Ichikawa,
Yay!
and and he's apparently compatible with the weapon that was made out of Kaiju number 6. So that's pretty big
Whew.
news. That's really big news,
The
actually.
former king of kaiju.
Yeah.
Whew.
And yeah, like supposedly that's the most dangerous and most powerful kaiju suit there is.
Yeah.
I wonder though
Wow.
how it's gonna compare to the suit that will be made out of kaiju number 10. I guess we'll see.
Good question. I don't know.
Because that one should also be really powerful.
Yeah, kaiju number 10 is really powerful.
Mm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the offensive well, maybe it'll be like a speculate or there'll be a caveat in that kaiju number 10 is better at close up combat. Like that's its forte. Obviously Hoshina, that's what he does.
True, true.
And then maybe kaiju number 6 is just all around a more offensive powerhouse.
That may
I
be.
don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. But I
Oh,
had thought.
sorry. I just
Oh,
need to quickly just put this in. Something that just came to mind since you mentioned the humans' fighting style in relation to the kaiju's powers or the kaiju's abilities or whatever.
mm-hmm,
With Soshiro,
mm-hmm.
maybe perhaps very fittingly, perhaps with Reno, he's been known to not maybe not like completely uniquely, but rather specifically using freeze rounds, if I recall.
Ice. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that was like, yeah, when Kaiju number 6, yeah, there was like a bunch of blizzard, it was a blizzard and stuff. So,
I mean,
hmm,
there's got to be a correlation, right?
yeah,
I,
huh,
I, I mean, maybe it just happened to be a snowy, blizzardy day. I mean, I guess that's a fun, different setting to have, but
yeah,
it does make me think that maybe there's some freezing ice power at play with
yes,
Kaiju number 6.
I love that. Oh, that would be so cool.
And that
If
would make sense why Ichikawa would be uh, compatible with this one
mm-hmm.
specifically.
Right. Yeah, since I guess he's just the ice element is just natural to him somehow for some reason.
And then that would make sense if Kaiju number 10 has that, that close combat thing. I can't remember I remember the fight being great, but I can't remember if that was its forte per se. I felt like it had some sort of firing power to it, but anyway, obviously Hoshina is skilled in that, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe there is a correlation there. But I don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I actually,
Interesting.
I thought Kaiju number 6. I had that wild theory that what if Kaiju number 6 was actually Kikoru's mom or
Oh, that's right.
I
Yes, yes, I
I think I did
remember.
say that at one
Yeah.
point.
Uh-huh.
I think this volume kind of confirms that's not the case,
Uh-huh.
but I did still think that maybe Kikoru would be the one to get Kaiju number 6 in kind of
Right.
a twist of fate,
Mm.
but that is not the case. I was like, dang it.
That yeah. And I liked that theory because it would have felt good in a way, I think.
Almost like sentimental kind of.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But it's fine. I mean, I'm happy that Ichikawa is getting some love here and getting a great power boost.
Yeah.
I'm curious if Kikoru would ever get that. We're talking about Kikoru again. I'm so sorry. I'm
All good.
curious if she'll get a power up like this.
Yeah.
But maybe she doesn't need it. Although if she's gonna be as strong as Narumi, I mean, he's got a freaking handicap, or not? Well, not a handicap, but a power boost with
That's
the
true.
eyes of the
Yeah.
of the first kaiju. Like, come on,
That's true. That's a bit unfair.
right?
uh, yeah.
So anyway, but maybe Ichikawa is the first of a few more to come. Well, I'm not sure
Precisely.
how many
Uh-huh.
they have in storage.
Right. But a thought just came to mind regarding, well, the idea of Kikoru getting weapon number 6. while Reno is incredibly determined to match with this suit, the process has been shown to be incredibly rough and
Yeah.
difficult. Like so far, he's been failing, but I mean, I think he's ultimately gonna make it, or it seems like it. He could at least.
Okay.
But the thought that just came to mind was that what if he's ultimately going to fail,
Oh
and
man.
like he won't ever be able to match with this weapon,
Oh what?
but Kikoru will or something,
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
I mean that'd be interesting. I think we've kind of already set it up that it's too potentially too perfect for
Yeah.
Ichikawa to not. I mean they both have their perfectness. You know what I mean? Like it would be a
True.
good setup for either. But if it is
Yeah.
this whole ice freezing thing
Hmm.
compatibility that's going on, then I'd say it's a shoe in that Ichikawa will eventually overcome.
That is true.
Uh,
But another thought just came to mind. Wow, you just
all
keep getting these thoughts.
right, here we go.
So, um, because you are right, it would be perfect for both. So why not both? So, hear me out.
Ah,
I believe it was established earlier on in the series that Reno and Kikoru had a really good dynamic in the battlefield. Like they cooperate really well and fight
oh,
really nicely alongside each other. What if
huh.
they could somehow like bear the burden of this heavy kaiju suit together, like split across each other? Like
Interesting.
make it two suits that somehow have half of the powers, but since they fight so well together, it's as if though it's the full suit or the power of it. I don't know.
That's shipping fuel right there. But
It definitely
just gonna
is.
just gonna leave that for speculation. But no, that's a pretty interesting idea. I'd totally be down for that. Them kind of splitting the load that way.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that's how these suits work.
Right, yeah, we don't know
I'm
if
not
it is,
sure.
but
And like you said, oh yeah, only half the power, but if they do work so well together and they're able to get 100% out of the suit when
mm,
they are together, that'd be just as useful.
right.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
Could be, could be.
Yeah, either way, I think this is the first in a line of maybe a couple of people getting suits. I don't think everybody can get a
Mm.
weapon.
No,
Um,
probably not.
there's just not enough Daikaiju for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. Starting with Ichikawa.
For sure.
So he also only has a month to prepare himself.
Exactly. I
So just
love
like
that.
Kikoru.
Yeah,
Yeah.
precisely. They both have the 1 month time limit or yeah, deadline. So yeah, that's very fun.
And last thing I'll say is that, true to character, he's still thinking about protecting Kafka, and it's probably the thing that's giving him the most motivation at this point.
Yeah, yeah. And
Uh,
I like how he's holding on to that. Like
yeah.
it's the same.
After all these volumes.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that was the last character that I had any notes on. So go for anything else that you got if there is.
So Ogata, Captain Ogata. I don't
Yeah.
know if we heard his first name.
Juugo.
Jugo. I'm not sure if we've had him in the previous volume, but this one we got a little more of an intimate moment with him and his alcohol problem,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't have much faith in Reno at all controlling number six.
No.
It's probably more so that he's afraid of number six's power
Yeah.
and just really is in awe by it.
True.
But I think Reno will surprise him, and I think his intentions are in the best place. Of course, he doesn't want to see a kid die or anything, but no, I'm sure his mind is in the right place.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's all I have.
Alrighty. Then let's dive into predictions. And this is your first episode on the Kaiju number 8 discussions where you can fully
Yeah.
chime in. And funnily enough, this is one volume that didn't really fuel me to have a lot of predictions actually. So this one's mostly on you.
Well, I'm right there with you. I'm like, oh boy, I can make
Oh,
predictions. It's like,
oh no! You
I don't
finally have
got
a
a
chance to
whole
predict things.
lot.
Oh
Yeah.
well, that's fair. That's fair. Then I guess we do feel a bit similarly on that. Then, yeah, I guess my only one very minor, and it's not even a prediction. It's just like this is something I look forward to seeing, is
Mhm.
well, as we mentioned, this 1 month deadline that both Kikoru and Reno now have,
Right.
and to see like, I guess really whether it's going to be like long and detailed, or if it's just going to
Mhm.
be like a brief training montage, like whatever it is. I'm excited to see how each of those two characters will have grown by the end of that month.
So my hope is that we don't really see the training at all.
Oh.
Um, I mean, I guess it could be interesting to see Reno eventually be like, "Yeah, I have the power." He gets it, but I have a feeling that it could go the more modern route of just skipping that whole training stuff
Yeah.
and goes right to the 1 month later,
Right. Yeah.
or show what Kafka's doing. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
maybe not like by detail, but you should have a little bit of what Kafka's doing, and then they get to 1 month
Mm.
later, kind of type situation.
Yeah.
Um, but I wouldn't mind seeing the details and how they train, and I guess Kikoru like fighting the different um, what was it, squad leaders or captains or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
platoon leaders. Um,
Mm. Mm.
like I think that would still be interesting to see, especially if we get some new characters and or exciting ones to see. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of ready to go right in
Actually,
to the next
yeah.
part.
I I think, yeah, I hadn't given it much thought, but I definitely, I think I would appreciate also your thinking there, because it I think it could make for some cool reveals in whatever fight comes in a month,
Mm-hmm.
maybe or so, because I am kind of expecting, like, maybe it's convenient, but I am kind of expecting after this month of training and trying to match with suits and whatnot, that maybe around then or shortly after, that may be when Kaiju number 9 will strike again.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
in that showdown, to see their accomplishments then for the first time could be pretty epic, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, I'm excited to see what they will be able to accomplish.
Indeed.
But yeah, I'm dry out of predictions now.
Well, so I already mentioned Kikoru will get a kaiju weapon eventually. It's kind of one of
Mm.
the predictions I was thinking of. I'm not fully confident in that one, but the fact that Narumi has one makes
Mm.
me think that if she's going to reach his level, she would need one as well.
That's true.
But it would be great if there be Kaiju number 9 and the story still continues, and she's able to either get Kaiju number 2 or Kaiju number 9 or some sort of amalgamation of that and use that as a weapon. Although they may just like incinerate Kaiju number 9 just so there's nothing left.
Yeah.
Just like no more.
Yeah, but I wonder, like, yeah, because that one would be an incredibly powerful suit, like, and probably because like, because it's Kaiju number 9 having consumed Kaiju number, what was it, the one that
2.
Isao wore, 2, right, right. So I guess it would be both in one if they made a suit out of it.
I guess unless they were able to separate the two, which I
Uh,
don't know if that how
Fair,
that would work.
right? Yeah, I don't know.
But
Yeah.
again, that only depends if we are reaching a middle point, and if the middle point
Mm.
ends in Kaiju number 9's death,
For
or
sure.
if he's still gonna keep going, or if the story is gonna end pretty soon. I really don't know. It doesn't seem like the end
Mm.
story is ending. So
No, yeah, I also don't get that vibe. But speaking of the weaponization of Catch Number 9 and how that would function exactly, I wonder to what extent would like Iso's body still be consumed by it and whatnot. Like
mm-hmm.
it what if that's the one that Kikoru gets, and like she, I don't know, would that be strange Like she's wearing a suit
May-
made out of her dad, partially.
May- yeah, I mean, maybe it's just not functional as a suit at this point.
Yeah, no clue.
Uh, yeah, but
Yeah,
that would be quite disturbing if it was just, human skin.
yeah. Yeah.
And then, I mean, this is kind of a lame prediction. We'll see a new Daikaiju.
All
I,
right. Yeah, sure.
I think it could be one that Kaiju number 9 has made.
Mm,
The ones
yeah.
that aren't the prototype. So
True.
potentially a Kaiju number 11
That would
is what I'm thinking.
I'm down. I'm down for Kaiju number 11. Yeah,
Yeah. Not to
for
say he would
sure.
replace Kaiju number 9. Although would it be interesting the if the creation surpassed the creator?
Ooh,
Um,
ooh.
I mean, in some ways that's probably the goal of some creators, I assume,
Yeah.
but no,
Hmm.
I'm not predicting that quite yet, but I do think that Kaiju number 11 is a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, whether it's the higher big bad above number 9, or if it's number nine's next creation, I feel
True.
like it's
That's a good
probably
point.
it's one of those two, most likely.
That's a good point because just because it's Kaiju number 11 doesn't mean it wasn't around before
Exactly.
Kaiju number 9. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see. But I suppose that's it.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Lovely. I'm starting to really enjoy this series more. I feel like. Uh, I usually don't compare the series that we cover on the podcast to each other a lot,
Mm.
but I something that that's been on my mind, so I just wanted to share it briefly.
Okay.
Uh, Kaiju number 8, as well as Jujutsu Kaisen that we are also covering on the podcast, are at least in my mind, they're in a similar camp, kind of. I think there's some similarities in genre and in appeal to me between the two. And for a long time, I think I was preferring Jujutsu Kaisen over Kaiju number 8.
Okay.
But at this point, even though we are at a great high in Jujutsu Kaisen right now, I think Kaiju number 8 has surpassed Jujutsu Kaisen in my mind.
Whoa,
I
really?
just as a story. Honestly, yeah, it's just in my opinion,
What?
it's
Uh-huh.
more charming to me, and it
Wow.
it appeals to me more personally. Though I'm just enjoying both, and I'm enjoying them
Right.
similarly. Like they're very close still to
Yeah.
me. But I
Interesting.
honestly think I'm enjoying this one more. And this one was kind of at the bottom of to me before of
Mm.
like the series that we out of the series that we cover
Mm-hmm.
volume by volume. But yeah, no, I think it actually surpassed Jujutsu Kaisen.
Wow. That is wow. That's crazy because I mean, not to say anything exactly what we've been reading in Jujutsu Kaisen, but the past couple of volumes have kind of blown me away in terms
Mhm.
of action and reveals and things like that. And I just don't think we've had the same kind of reveals in Kaiju number 8 quite yet. We've had some pretty big moments, and the action is obviously amazing. He does a great job with his paneling, but I will say that in terms of understanding the content, Kaiju number 8 is easier.
Yeah, by
That's
far.
definitely a flaw of Jujutsu Kaisen is while the power system and everything about it is so fascinating, it's also quite convoluted, and not
Yes.
even the writer himself is quite sure what's going on at times.
Yeah.
Uh, which is kind of charming, but also,
Mm.
it's like, well, I'm glad I'm not the only one who's lost. Um, but uh, but Kaiju number 8, sorry, it might as well be Kaiju number 9 at this point, right? No,
Yeah.
no, Kaiju number 8 is just easy to follow, but still exciting, and
Mm.
has some depth and mystery to it. I do wish that we would see a little bit more of the mystery unravel.
Mm.
Granted, we are talking about a difference in how many volumes have come out, though.
Uh,
Like this is
that's very
volume number
true.
7, and Jujutsu Kaisen. What volume are we on?
Well, we've recorded 12, but I don't know
Yeah.
what we're at in like release when this one releases. I don't know actually.
Well, anyway,
but probably around there at least.
there's a slight difference.
Yep.
There was some building to some of those big reveals in Jujutsu Kaisen. So who knows? Maybe we'll be getting some big reveals here in Kaiju number 8 as well.
I am expecting it.
But that's an interesting comparison.
Yes. I will note quickly that they are both 7 out of 10s for me. Probably. But yeah, just one is a little higher, I guess, in my head than the other.
I'd probably
Yeah, how would you rate Kaiju number 8 right now?
Probably an 8. I think
nice.
I think that's what I was feeling last time as well. Yeah, I mean, I put that as an 8, but I put Jujutsu Kaisen probably a little higher. Especially after the current what we're reading right now, but anyway.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's a great series. For me, that's great. That is great.
It is great. It's really great.
Honestly, all the series we'll be covering, I don't think some series go down to 7, but we really haven't covered anything that's well, I take that back. I did give a 6 to Planets, and I stick by that.
Wait, you're joking? Wait, did you?
No, I'm not. I totally did.
I totally forgot about that. Wow.
I totally did.
Wow.
But a 6 for me is okay.
Wow, not even I have given anything we've covered on the podcast that low of a score. And I'm known. I'm famous for giving low scores. Not famous.
To be fair, this is me comparing it against the masterpiece that is Vinland Saga.
It is. That's true. That is.
I probably judged it a bit harshly, but I had my qualms with it. I had my qualms.
That's fair. Very well. And on that note, I suppose we're done here. Be sure to let us know how you rate Kaiju number 8, or really anything else that you want to share.
Sure,
in YouTube
please.
comments or on Discord or anywhere. Always fun to hear other people's thoughts. And well, if you enjoy our content, you can follow us on Twitter at Umami Manga. And it would be lovely if you'd like to support us by rating our show on the podcast platforms and subscribing to our channel, Umami Manga, on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time when we'll talk about Volume 8. Bye-bye!
Hooray!
Come on, Shino, goddammit. She was like behind the computer, and I lifted her out of there, and immediately she just runs around me on the other side and goes back behind the computer again.
Say, aha!
Yeah. No.